Hey guys, good morning. And welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Brian, kitchen. At least for today. Sometimes we come from other parts of the room, our house, garage. Yeah, it varies. But this morning we come from the kitchen, and I thought we would do something, start some Christmas cookie baking. And it's early morning. It's 6 o'clock. Been up since about 4. I'm an early riser. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Glad you came. Glad you found me. Hope you get something out of this. If you're returning to my channel, thanks for coming back. That means I'm doing something right, or at least you like me a little bit. And and if you are new, my channel basically is just documenting me. If and my family, on occasion, they don't get into this nearly as much as I do, but here at the house we're a family of 4. We're actually a family of 6. 2 of them are out doing their thing, and as adults. And then there's Sarah, Abby, my wife, Chris. Sarah's my middle daughter, Abby's my youngest. And when I'm just documenting me, us, things we do, things I do mostly, which could be anything: cooking, baking, food processing and canning, woodworking, gardening. I just pick a subject. We pretty much get into it. Fish keeping. But that being said, this morning, like I said, kind of kicking off the cookie season, so to speak, although in my opinion, cookie season's all year long. It's kind of like Christmas. Christmas isn't just a day, it's a frame of mind. I feel that way about making cookies. I love cookies. I love sweets in general. Not so much like candy bars and, junk, but I like homemade baked goods. And so we do a lot of pies, cakes, cookies, breads, dessert breads, things like that, so on and so forth. So anyhow, peanut butter cookies. This is a recipe we've been using for a good little while now. I've made dozens of them. Normally on this channel we try to do new things, make new things, whether it be cooking dinner, completely new recipe. Like yesterday we did the lasagna, or just a new pie or cake or whatever it takes. Hold on for me 1 second. My alarm is going off on my laptop, and if I can get it to go there we go. But today, peanut butter cookies usually, we make these pretty much all year round, but they were requested by my middle daughter, and they'd be a good way to start off making cookies for Christmas. We always pick out 6 or 7 cookies. We probably got, 80 different cookie recipes, but we always pick out 6, 7 of them, sometimes more. To do. So I know we're doing these for sure today, and if we have enough time on this video, because I don't want to draw my video out for hours, we're going to do Buckeyes also. So anyhow, I'm going to quit talking, we're going to get to work. Let me move my camera down to the counter here so we can see what's going on, and we'll talk about some things you'll need to make these with, and then we'll start making them, and I'll go over ingredients. I do ingredients in cup measurements and grams, and that way you have an accurate ingredient list. So let me get this down here so we can see. If you ever return to my channel, you're like, got another camera angle, and I get it, but I'm trying to see what works. If you're new to my channel, we just moved into this house a couple months ago. The kitchen is incredibly small. As a matter of fact, you've seen the entire kitchen. Right behind you is the back door, about 2 foot off your backside. All right, so for making cookies, and these are pretty standard pieces of equipment, no matter what you need or what you make. You will definitely need a scale. Alright, and even if this isn't an expensive scale, it costs like, $11, $12. It wasn't horribly expensive, but a scale is worth its weight in gold when it comes to baking. It provides you consistency, and consistency is important. And sometimes, depending on what you're making, it's very specific. Certain amounts of ingredients like leaveners, things like that, baking soda, baking powder, your salts, they add a certain, you add a certain amount to get a certain result. Alright, the other thing you'll need is at least a couple bowls and a hand mixer. Like right here I've got 2 bowls. Although I don't have a hand mixer, I own a stand mixer, so I'm going to use it today. If you don't have a stand mixer, that's fine. You can use a hand mixer. Hand mixers are a lot cheaper, but don't get a horribly cheap one. spend the $50, $55 it takes to get one. If you can find a good stand mixer, I mean, they're a couple, $200-$300, some as high as $400 now, which is crazy, but pandemic's drawn up prices. So, and then you will just need a spatula, regular old spatula. This is a Christmas spatula. We've had it for years. And then up down the road, when we go to put them on the pan, you'll need a scoop, and you'll need a couple cookie sheets with some parchment paper. But that's down the road yet. So the first thing we need to do, oddly enough, is not turn our oven on, because after we get the dough together, we gotta let it refrigerate. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my mixer. All right, now I recommend, especially if you have kids or even yourself, or if it's just you and the missus or the mister or whatever. I don't plug in until I absolutely go to use my tools. All it takes is somebody to come by and accidentally hit the on button of any of your equipment at the wrong time, and we have little hands in our house with Abby, and somebody could get hurt, it could create a mess. So it's just much easier, in my opinion, to wait until the very last minute to plug in any equipment you have. All right, so if you do have a stand mixer, use your paddle attachment. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put 3/4 of a cup of butter in, which is 170 grams, or a stick and 3/4 of a stick of butter. And we're going to take this, and we're just going to put in, you want your butter at room temperature, okay, which means it's been sitting out for about a half hour, 45 minutes. Now, this butter's actually been sitting out for a couple hours, so it's good and soft, it's room temperature. Then we're just going to cream this up real quick. And by creaming it up, I mean, well, you're seeing it basically. You're going to make sure that it's not, if your butter's a little cold, it's not quite completely room temperature, that's okay. You just keep on mixing until it becomes creamy, because the actual act of mixing it will warm it up enough to get it to room temperature quickly. Then we're just going to take our spatula. Your spatula is just for scraping your bowl. Hey, with every action, you want to pretty much scrape your bowl. You want to, as we add ingredients, we'll want to make sure things are getting mixed properly. Inside, right about here, right dead in the center of this bowl, and this goes for about every stand mixer out there. I don't know one that varies from this. There's a dead spot that doesn't always like to mix. Now, it will mix, but not always. All right, so we've got that creamed. It literally took 2 seconds because my butter was completely room temperature. And then the things we're going to add after that is a 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar, just plain old, put in your coffee or in your cereal or whatever it is you like to use sugar for. 1/2 cup of that, that's 100 grams. And then you're going to want 100 grams of packed brown sugar. Now, packed brown sugar means when you scooped it out of the container with your 1/2 cup measuring cup, you pack it down. See how, okay, if I press that, see how it leaves fingerprints? That's because brown sugar it's light. I mean, it's sticky, but it's light enough that it leaves air pockets. So a 1/2 cup, if you don't pack it down, may not really be a 1/2 cup, might be like 1/3 of a cup. So you want it packed down. Now, if you use your scale, you don't have to worry about that, because you just know you need 100 grams. But 1/2 cup, 100 grams of brown sugar. Then we're going to put that in there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to mix this until on medium high until it is creamy and it has a change of color. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this started, and then once we get this nice and creamy and mixed, we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we let this mix for a couple minutes, and every so often I stopped, I scraped down the sides of my bowl with my spatula, made sure everything was getting combined well. So now we're gonna scrape down the sides of our bowl again. That's important. Scraping down, doesn't matter how many times you do it, there aren't enough times. So every 30 seconds, every whatever, but see how now it's like got a nice cream look to it. It doesn't look like just sugar and butter sitting together. That's what we're looking for. It's not going to be smooth in texture because it's sugar. It's not been heated, so you still have those granules in there. But that's okay. That's what we're looking for at the moment. The next thing we're going to add is 3/4 cup or 186 grams of peanut butter. Now you have peanut butter options. If you're going to use a natural peanut butter that separates, make sure you mix it up first. But you can use crunchy peanut butter, you can use smooth peanut butter, you can use any brand of peanut butter, whatever you and your family like. The one recommendation I have is, and I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but I have found that like older peanut butter, you know, if you have like an older jar of peanut butter, it's got a real strong peanut flavor. I mean, you may like that. I don't. So I always start with a fresh jar of peanut butter, and I prefer crunchy peanut butter. I did learn the other day though that statistically speaking, men prefer a crunchy peanut butter in their peanut butter cookies. Women prefer a creamy peanut butter. I thought that was kind of interesting. Why that is, don't know. I didn't read that much into it, but you know, it's there. All right, so now we gotta mix this. We're just gonna incorporate the peanut butter, get it together inside here. Shouldn't take but a brief second here. All right, we're in there. The reason why we don't have to incorporate that so much, we just have to incorporate it and us here beat it to death. So we're going to continue to mix. So the next thing we'll need is 1 large egg, and that's at room temperature. Butter and eggs, room temperature, almost always. The only time I've ever seen that butter wasn't at room temperature is when you're making pie crust. Yeah, any other time, dairy products in general, room temperature. So we're going to add our egg, and large eggs are right around 50 grams. So if you're using farm fresh eggs, they vary in size sometimes, but you're looking for right around 50 grams. If you're going to take some of the egg out to make it exactly 50 grams, which I never have, take some of the white out. And then we're going to, last ingredient for the wet is going to be 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of vanilla. Now, vanilla is just for flavor. And believe me, it makes a great flavor in it. And if you go, it's a liberal 4 grams. So, I mean, if you're a little over 4 grams or a little under 4 grams, it's up to you. It's just for flavor. But you won't regret using it, I guarantee it. All right, so now we're just going to mix that in. All right, we have incorporated our egg. Get everything off the panel attachment right quick. And you want to try to mix, or at least scrape with your spatula. Like I said, you just can't scrape enough. I can't emphasize that enough. It just ensures everything's incorporated. You don't want anybody to get a chunk of whatever, in your cookie. Sorry, it's early, but you got to get started on the day. My days off are packed full of all kinds of stuff, but I like to make time to bake and cook. But we're gonna make sure that's all good and mixed up. So I can see some light spots that the vanilla and the egg and the peanut butter didn't quite catch. All right, so we got that on there. Now we just need to do our dry ingredients. This really is an incredibly easy recipe to do. There's just not a whole lot to it, but we will have to exercise some patience in making this. We're going to scoot that over real quick, and we're going to do our dry ingredients. Dry ingredients, there's only 3 of them. It's really easy. You're going to need some flour. You're going to need some all-purpose flour. You're going to need 2 cups of it, or 260 grams. All right? And in a bowl. Hence the second bowl we'll need. You will need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 gram. Now, the butter we use is unsalted. If you prefer a salted butter, or that's what you have, you can just leave this salt out. If you use salted butter and put this salt in, it will make your cookies salty. And you don't want that. You know, I mean, you may want that, I guess, if you like salty cookies. But, so, if you have salted butter in your wet batter, wet ingredients, you don't need the salt here. But we use unsalted butter. Yeah, and make sure you use real butter. That's important. Yeah, I mean, you could use margarine, but I don't know how it turn out, because margarine is oil, where butter is milk, fat. And then you will need a half a teaspoon of baking soda, which is 2 grams, okay? Put that in there. Then we will take a whisk, and whisk that together. Yeah, that way you don't have any clumps in it. And what the baking powder does is, baking powder helps it rise, flour helps it hold together, yeah, and the salt just enhances the flavors. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool how everything works, and as you learn that, it's like the science behind cooking. Never really thought about the science behind cooking, but, you know, there's science behind everything. All right, so we got that mixed together really well. Set that to the side, and then we're going to take our spatula out of there because it's in the way. And we're just going to pour our dry mix in there. There we are. Got that going. Set that in to be washed. Now, when you go to turn on your mixer, this has stand mixer, hand mixers, either way, start on low. If you don't, this flour is going to fly right up in your face and get everywhere on the counter. And we're going to mix this till it's incorporated, till all the flour is coated with the wet ingredients. And we're halfway there already, and it's only been 10-15 minutes, and that's with me talking. Alright, so we got that incorporated. Not a big deal. It took all of, like, I don't know, a minute at most. Then we're going to knock all the peanut butter dough off of the spatula here. I mean, as you can see, I've got some powder marks in there from the flour still. Yeah, and that's okay, because we're going to make sure it's all... We're going to scrape our bowl just like we do in between every step and make sure everything's put together. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. And out there, out there. All right, like that. Set that to the side. Get our bowl off there. Then we're just going to kind of give this a good scrape down, make sure everything's incorporated like such. Get it off the spatula. Yep, we are in good shape. No flour marks. Alright. So, what do we do next? Bring you up here so I can see your smiling face. I like looking at your smiling face. It's gorgeous. Alright, so the next thing we have to do is practice a little patience. I'm going to put some saran wrap, some plastic wrap over the top of this, and I'm going to stick it in the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, it will really depend on your fridge. We're looking to firm up this batter a little. Alright, or this dough a little. Oh, excuse me. And then that way we can put it into balls on our cookie sheet. So, when I come back, we will get these ready to, they will have sat in the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour. And we'll prep these up to put in the oven and talk about what temperature to put the oven on and all that good stuff. Alright, I'll be back in just 1 second. So we let our dough chill, our cookie dough chill for about 45 minutes. And all that does is just let it all firm back up so it's easier to put on the, to roll and put on the cookie sheet. So let me get you back down here and where the cookie sheet is, and we'll look at what we got going on next. Now, you'll see a scale sitting there, and I use a scale that, because you want your cookies to be as even as possible, about the same weight, same size, things like that. So that way they bake evenly. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out, I make my cookies 35 grams, okay? And if it's off by a gram or two, it's whatever. But like I said, I want it close so that way we can bake them evenly. So, and if you don't have one, cookie scoop. Next best thing. I mean, and this cookie scoop takes it to about 27 grams, which is pretty much ideal. And then you're just going to take it and roll it in a ball. Okay? Now, I got, what, 3, 6, 12 of them on here, and I got enough in here to do another dozen. But while we're working on these, I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the fridge so that way it stays firm. When you go to start these, go ahead and put your oven at 350 degrees, which I didn't do. But that's okay. We'll get her started. And then by the time we get these ready, it will be ready. But preheat your oven 350 degrees. Go ahead and get your balls rolled out and flattened. That just sounds so weird saying that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the sugar. Grab the sugar. I know you're thinking that's a mighty big jar of sugar, and it is, but we use a lot of sugar. And then we're just going to sprinkle these real quick with some sugar. Or you can put the sugar in a dish and dip your fork in them. But that's completely up to you. But what this does, it does twofold. A, traditionally peanut butter cookies get a little sugar sprinkled on them anyhow, pre-baked. But when you go, we're going to smash these down. Peanut butter cookies traditionally have like a crisscross pattern on them, you know, like a checkerboard almost. And you just do that by using a fork. So we'll grab a fork, grab a long fork, and all you're going to do is smush this way, and then just kind of wash, rinse, repeat. This recipe will do about 24 cookies, and I mean, if you want to, now these will grow. Don't be fooled by their size. I know they look small. Here, let me bring you in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Whoa. There we go. Bring you down. I never claimed to be professional, and it is just me, which makes it kind of interesting at times. But you know, you can make these as big and as small as you want. Now, if you go bigger, I mean, depending on how much bigger, you may want to look at, you know, you start looking at changing things like your time to bake, your temperature, things like that. But, you know, essentially this is it. I mean, this is how you make a peanut butter cookie. So get these smushed up. And you want to keep your dough fairly, I mean, doesn't have to be, if your kitchen's kind of hot, you know, you might want to work a little quicker. My kitchen is warm because the oven's on now, but I also have a window open that's literally 1 foot off the side of this camera. So it's keeping it relatively not ice cold in the kitchen, but cool. Right now it's a balmy, I think 22 degrees outside, 18 with the wind chill, which is always nice. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do with these cookies. So to bake these cookies, like I said, 350 degrees, which is 180 degrees Celsius. And we're going to do these for 10 to 13 minutes. I mean, it will really just depend on your oven. Every oven bakes a little different. And like in this one, in particular, I've never baked, peanut butter cookies in it before. So I don't know. It may take 10 minutes, it may take 13 minutes. In our old oven at the last house, it took 8 minutes. Remember that, but you want to start checking them, after, maybe 9 minutes. And what we're looking for, because it's not like a cake where you can touch the top and it's spongy, or poke a hole in the center of it and it should come out clean with a toothpick. These, you're looking for them to be crispy on the edges. They'll be crispy on the edges and look soft in the center, but you're looking for a crispy edge. And I'll show you once we pull these out of the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in the oven, and like I said, I'm going to start with 10 minutes. I'll let you know how long exactly it took in my oven, but start checking them at 9. If you let them go too long, okay, say you hit 10 minutes, they're still not done, check them about every minute afterwards. Don't leave your oven. 30 seconds in an oven with cookies can make the difference between a good moist cookie with crispy edges and a really dry cookie that just breaks apart and crumbles as you eat it like a cracker. And we don't want that. That we don't want. We want, a nice, not undone center, but a nice soft, kind of chewy center, and we want crispy edges. So I will see you here in just a moment when these are. Okay, so we went 11 minutes. I'm getting ready to pull them out of the oven now. They're looking pretty good. Let me bring you down here. So we're probably at 11 and a half minutes now. But, like I said, 30 seconds can make all the difference in the world. But we're going to pull them out. And there's what we have produced. Let me get the next round in the oven real quick. All right. Now, one thing I did kind of fail to mention on this go around was you want to, about halfway through your baking process, so in my case 5.5 minutes, you want to take the pan, you want to turn it all the way around while it's in the oven. The reason for that is because a lot of ovens have hot spots, and so you may get some uneven baking. You may have some that turn out lighter, some that turn out darker. But here we are at this stage here, and we're almost there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let these sit for a minute or so, and then we'll transfer them over to a rack to cool. All right, so a minute, 2 minutes on this, and then we're going to put them over on this rack, so that way they can just cool down. Now, you can eat them, after about 3 or 4 minutes, but I'm going to let mine cool a little while. So when I come back, we'll give them a taste and see how they turned out. All right, see you back in a second. All right, we got the second batch out of the oven now. We're letting them cool. Got the first batch on the rack, and these are pretty much ready to eat. So I wanted to bring you one end up close so you can see everything I'm talking about. But see how it's a little darker on the edges than it is in the center? That's what you're looking for when it comes to a cookie. And then, when you open it up, see how it doesn't completely fall apart? If you bake them too long and they dry, that will just smoothly crumble when you try to do that. Let me bring you up here where I can see you. All right, there you are, looking good as always. So, that's a basic peanut butter cookie, but let's give it a shot and see how it turned out. That was definitely a peanut butter cookie. These are one of my favorite cookies ever. And with these, you can add chocolate chips to them, or any kind of chip to them. You can put, if you're using creamy peanut butter, but you want a little bit of a crunch to it, you can always, if you have some peanuts laying around, some unsalted regular peanuts, you can put those in it. I've done them with chocolate chips. As a matter of fact, there's a video quite some time ago that I did. It's in my baking playlist if you look on my channel, that I did peanut butter cookies with chocolate chips in them, and they are really good. But that peanut butter cookie is amazing, I'm not gonna lie, and I knew it would be. We've made these dozens of times. These and Snickerdoodles are probably our two favorite cookies here. All right. Give these a shot. There's something that doesn't take long. They're easy. You know, you don't have to really, there's not a whole lot of labor intensive work to them like some of the cakes and stuff we've done lately. And this is like a nice break and the beginning of cookie making season for Christmas, hands down. So that being said, next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about on Tuesday or what we're going to do on Tuesday. Definitely cooking dinner on Wednesday. Definitely baking something on Thursday. In between then, you'll probably see a video because I'm getting ready to make Buckeyes, and even though there is 1,000,001 Buckeye videos on YouTube, I'm still going to make one because I got to make them anyhow. Why not bring you along? That way, 5 generations from now, my great, how many ever great set is grandkids will know how to make Buckeyes. So we'll make Buckeyes sometime between now and Tuesday. Tuesday, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Wednesday, I have no idea what we're going to cook yet, but it'll be good, I'm sure. And Thursday, we'll probably bake more cookies. Till then, till I see you again, I love you. I love you very much. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. Try these cookies. Take them to a neighbor. Make a new friend with them. All right? Between the I love you and cookies, they'll know it's true. All right? I will see you probably here in the next few days. All right? Love you. Talk to you later. Bye.